Catlin Cemetery was the first cemetery in this area. It was made operational in 1849 with its first internments there of settlers. And many people of historical significance to Cowlitz County are in fact interred there. William McCorkle, for example, one of our early pioneers up in the Lexington area, is buried there. He's also a signer of the Monticello Convention, as is Seth Catlin, for which Catlin Cemetery is named after, and Catlin, the area, is named after. To gain access to the cemetery, the key to the gate is at the gas station that's across the street on Fisher's Lane, and you can go and ask the clerk there for the key, tell them that you'd like to see the cemetery. They usually will take your driver's license as collateral, and then you just return the key and get your driver's license back after you walk through the cemetery. So here's the McCorkle plot. So William McCorkle was one of our early pioneers, settled up in the Lexington area. Here's his marker here, 1824 to 1901. Looks like, too, they lost a young daughter, less than 2 years old. There's a lot of children buried at this cemetery. Many of them are in unmarked graves or graves that are just marked infant. It's very rare these days for a child to pass away before their parent, but a long time ago it was very common. There's a marker right here of a 2.5-year-old, a 1-year-old, and an infant that all died within about a 3-week period of each other in November of 1849. So this is one of the earliest graves that was interned here. You just have to go back and think about that family and what they were going through to lose one child and then another one literally a week later, and then another one right after the infant son was born 10 days later. 3 children in November. It's unfathomable nowadays to think about that type of a loss all at once, yet this was not terribly uncommon 150 years ago. So this is the wife of Seth Catlin here, 1885. Seth Catlin here, 1865. So a very significant person in our state's history. You know, Catlin was a town that never succeeded, and it's now West Kelso. And so to learn more about Catlin, you would need to go to the Cowlitz County Historical Museum or maybe come to the cemetery to learn a little bit more about who he was and his role in helping to shape our state. You'll notice many of the tombstones as you walk through have lines through them where they had been smashed and knocked over and then had been fixed. It looks like there was some kind of an epoxy that was used to keep the two pieces together when they were broken. Some of them were also in the ground and in concrete, where they took the fragments and kind of put the puzzle pieces together and then encased it in concrete to protect it. So there was a tombstone that we saw earlier from around 1874 that was knocked over, and it would have been an upright, but now it's flat like how modern tombstones are. I would encourage people to come here and take photographs of the headstones in case some of them are not in public record. If you go to Find a Grave, you'll notice many of them have been documented. The files that we have at the museum, many of them have pictures from Find a Grave, but if there's anything missing in the record, if you take the picture of it, you can help fill those missing pieces. I think it's important for people to do that because although I have no family relations with anybody who's buried here, I live here. This is my home, And my home has a history, and that history was created and forged by people who are buried here in this ground right here. These are the pioneers that settled this area and brought with them their skills and their interest in agriculture or in timber or fishing. And many families who currently live here actually can trace their roots back to these early settlers and donation land grant recipients. So it helps you get a better idea where your history is, where you came from, where you're at, and ultimately where you're going.